I think what young people are struggling with is this idea that we were promised something if we did X, Y, and Z. If you go to college, if you get good grades, you're gonna go get a job and be able to afford a house or a car or at least pay your rent. And now we're realizing that that's not gonna happen if we just sit here.
I think we're optimistic about the future, but we're somewhat cynical about politics. And the only way that we can do that is if we actually get to the polls and vote.
We're not gonna just sit on the sidelines, like we're actually gonna go make what was promised for us.
You don't actually have to divide yourself by these party lines. You just have to figure out what's important to you.
For me, like climate change, that's entirely what motivates me in any election, and especially in one against one of the most vehement climate change deniers in Congress.
A recent report that if we don't clean up our act now, like the planet is screwed very, very soon, and that was just so quickly swept under the rug.
A country that doesn't give a woman right to her own body doesn't respect women, and I don't want to live anywhere like that.
There's never a good time to talk about the shootings that happen because we're in a mourning period, and then by the time that's over, there's another mass shooting that's occurred. So it's just this endless cycle, and I think when people stand up like they did in this past spring and just demand that changes be made, and then the voters are becoming more aware, it's powerful.
It's not gun control, it's common sense gun reform.
I've met so many people that are my age or even older than me that were hit really, really hard by the last economic crash that are a paycheck away from literally being on our streets. And I just don't see it as a conversation that seems to be happening.
In all other like Western countries, like you're not paying for school for the rest of your life.
For me, I think immigration's a big issue. You know, when you're outside the community and you don't reach out to the people of color, you don't hear about these issues.
There's some sort of confusion about whose life is valuable, which is, I mean, it's bizarre and ridiculous, but like, if you don't think that everyone deserves the same opportunity, you should not be allowed to represent anyone. That should be a disqualifier right off the bat.
Social Security is it's going to be a big issue for us who are starting to pay into it, and now the Republicans want to pay off the huge tax cut by digging into Social Security funds, which are like not entitlement. I'm paying into that, like I want my money back.
I saw a really funny tweet this morning about Social Security. It said, if you don't save Social Security, your mother's gonna come move in with you. So you should go vote on November 6th. And I was like, that is a good reason to go vote.
If my mom watches this, that's okay, Mom.
Yeah.
For me, okay?
I'm like, no, Mom, please don't.
Whether it's recognizing the rights of minority communities or even understanding the basic questions of science that should be informing our policymakers. Like Rohrabacher's just like not even in the same world.
He's become so ingrained in like the party politics of wanting to be loyal to the party, wanting to be loyal to the president, that he's forgotten to look over his shoulder and figure out where his constituents are at.
You know that Dana Rohrabacher has been quoted as saying that dinosaur flatulence is a source of global warming. Do you guys know that?
Yeah.
I recently learned that. I mean, that's just insane. Harley, on the other hand, is pushing to make climate change legislation, which is something that is so important to me to make sure that our Earth is still livable while I'm living on it.
It's gonna be the fact that we've set up America to be more economically successful because we're not gonna be using technology that's a century old and pretending like it's the only way for us to keep our economy booming and working. It's just so short-sighted, and he gets the economics of it, which I think most people should get. If you don't agree with like the humanitarian side and like taking care of the earth and the hippie stuff, like there's money in it. Just do it because of the money.
You may not agree with Harley on every single issue, but surely you agree with him on issues of basic science and reason and basic dignity with which we should treat people of color and LGBT community and the immigrant community.
Harley obviously wants to invest in the energy and the jobs of the future. I think he has this positive view of climate change. It's not just so depressing and pessimistic.
What makes me want to vote for Harley is that he's so accessible. He's held so many town halls.
I think if you elect him into office, you will have access to him to talk about the issues that you want to talk about, and you will have the ability to hold him accountable. And I think that that's what young people have to start thinking about, is that when you engage, when you help get somebody elected, when you're the demographic that turns out and pushes them over the edge, you now have the ability to hold those people accountable and make sure that they represent you.
I would vote for Harley over just about anyone, because I think he's an incredible person who's had a career of making excellent choices and working hard. Your other option is Dana Rohrabacher. Like, what the hell? Like, you deserve way better than that.